Welcome everybody, my name is Christian Bongard and today I'm going to be talking about the Wave 4 announcement as well as my first impression on the details that have been given from the Rebel side. The Mon Karen Liberty class cruiser is one that's been long awaited by many players including myself. It was very prominently shown in the Return of the Jedi as well as expanded universe sources, and we all knew it was bound to be included. It's a really unique ship that's going to play an interesting role and change things up quite a bit. It's a large class vessel with a hull value of 8, 2 brace tokens, 1 redirect, a top speed of 3, even though it does have a different clicking mechanism than the ISD. It has 5 shields on the front, as well as up to 4 red dice and 3 blue dice, or vice versa, 3 red dice and 4 blue dice on the Star Cruiser version. They're both cheaper than ISD and either the same price or cheaper than the MC-80 Command and Assault Carrier, but they do have some drawbacks to them. They don't have a defensive nor offensive upgrade slot, but they do have 2 Turbolaser upgrade spots as well as the very beloved weapons team slot as well. It has a massive forward-facing 5 shields. And the only difference between the Battle Cruiser and the Star Cruiser is the anti-squadron dice roll as well as the forward and rear arcs are replaced with 1 red die with a blue. This is going to be very interesting because unlike the up to this point lonely Nebulon B, all the other Rebel ships preferred to have either multiple arcs shown or predominantly the side arc, particularly with Akbar. However, now the Nebulon B has an older brother to watch out for it, and I could see those 2 ships being flown in conjunction in order to devastate Imperial players with massive forward firepower that they thought they had a monopoly on. There's some very interesting Turbolaser upgrades that come with this ship that are going to be useful for both this ship and others. There's the spinal armament, which gives you an extra red dice on both your front and your rear hull zones. It's 9 points, so it's relatively expensive and very comparable to the 10 points that's the enhanced armament that provides the same upgrade for the 2 side arcs. This could be useful for both the salvation on the Nebulon B, since getting a red critical allows it to count for twice. So if instead of rolling 4 dice, or instead of rolling 3 dice, you could be rolling 4 or even more depending on what your command is. There's also the quad Turbolaser Cannons, which is a whopping 10 points, but does have a very interesting ability. If you're attacking, if you get at least 1 red accuracy, you can add an additional red accuracy to your attack pool. This is very interesting for multiple reasons, because by using this in conjunction of other upgrades, such as the H9 Turbolasers, which allow you to set a dice to an accuracy, as well as the Home 1 ability to turn any dice of your choice, including a blank, into an accuracy, this all but guarantees you 2 accuracies in order to really limit the choices that your enemy is going to have for their defense tokens. It's 10 points, but I could see this being useful on red dice prominent ships, and you could see this on many other existing lists that include the MC-80 Command or Assault class with assault frigates and Akbar. By doing this and giving yourself essentially an extra guaranteed accuracy, it's way more likely to cause much more damage by avoiding as many defense tokens as possible. A particularly useful purpose of this card would be to counter the new flotillas, By guaranteeing yourself 2 accuracies where you would only get 1, you would be able to block both the scatter and the evade and have whatever damage you have left go straight to the ship rather than being avoided. There's also the high capacity ion turbines, which give you a blue dice on both your left and your right hull zones. It's 8 points and it's relatively expensive, but I can see this being applied to certain ships. One thing that is an interesting weakness to the Gladiator is that the Gladiator 1 has 4 black dice on its sides and no blue or red dice. That means that any ship, any flotilla with its scatter is essentially immune to the Gladiator. By not having that accuracy to block the scatter, any shot, even if it's 8 damage on 4 dice, will always be scattered from a Gladiator. Cautious Imperial players may add this to the Gladiators in order to give them that accuracy that they often do not get. It could also be used on some of the MC-80 command cruisers to give their side arcs even more of a punch. It's 8 points. I don't see it being used all that often, but it could sometimes be useful. There are 3 new title cards in this pack, and it includes the Endeavor, which gives you a contained defense token in addition to the 3 other tokens that you get, which could be particularly useful if you have Precision Strike in your list. There's the Mon Karen, which is 8 points, which is relatively expensive, but while you're attacking a ship, the defender cannot spend more than 1 of their defense tokens. This is particularly useful against ships that have 4 defense tokens. By limiting them to just 1 and using your accuracies to limit the one that they would like to use, you can really put more damage on the than a player would normally be able to mitigate. Lastly, there's the Liberty, which whenever you use a squadron token, you get to activate 1 additional squadron. So instead of 1, you would be able to activate 2. Now, on its own, I don't see this being particularly useful because I don't see why you would turn a Liberty class cruiser into a carrier, since it only has a squadron value of 2 and it doesn't allow expanded hangars or boosted comms. But if you have the Tantine 4 with Antilles giving out tokens, or you have Garmbel Ibis, this could be a useful strategy to give out tokens in order to have it push squadrons down the line when you need it. The new admiral is General Madine, which for the same cost as Mon Mothma allows you to do an additional yaw whenever you do a navigate command, as well as either the choice between changing your speed or an additional yaw whenever you use a token. I could see this being particularly useful for those forward-facing ships that want to keep their front arc at the enemy as much as possible. And since both the Nebulon B and the Liberty can go up to speed 3, that extra click will really be able to have them come up against enemy fleets and hit them in their weaker locations with way more maneuverability than the enemy would expect. That's the end of the Liberty upgrade, and I'm looking forward to getting it. I think you're going to see a lot of interesting Rebel builds with this new ship. Which aspect of this upgrade would you like to see and utilize the most? Goodbye, and thank you.